What's going on, everybody? It's your fishing buddy back with another video for y'all. And today, we gonna learn how to clean some fish. You wanna learn how to clean some fish? Stay tuned. So what we are gathered here today to get into is we wanna get a couple fillets off of this fish. Praise God. So the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our knife. We're gonna grab our knife of choice. Okay, we're gonna make an incision around this head, behind this gill plate, behind this fin, and we're gonna cut that incision down to the backbone. The backbone is gonna let you know when to stop. The knife is not gonna cut through the backbone. So put your safety goggles on, your PPE, let's get to it. All right. Now that we've made that cut, let's take our fish. Let's flip them around if you're right-handed. You flip them around to whatever side is suitable for you. Now, I didn't bleed this fish. And what that means is cut the throat on them, let all the blood leak out so your meat will be as white as possible. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It does make a difference in the way that the fish tastes, especially when you're cooking bigger fish. But for me, I don't really care unless I'm eating catfish. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is put this knife on safety while I talk to you. We're gonna come down. We're gonna come down to that point where we stop, to that backbone. And we're gonna put about, we on safe. We're going to put about this much of this knife into this fish, and we're going to ride this backbone all the way down. Now, this can get tricky sometimes. Sometimes you might end up on the other side of that backbone. So what I like to do is every little bit I'll stop and I'll put a little downward pressure on there just to make sure I'm at a point where I can't go down any further and it stops at that backbone. If it goes down further, then it's probably going to come out the other end and you done got under that backbone. So let's give it a shot. Knife off safety, PPE on, let's do it. You want to stay as close to that backbone as possible. That's where I missed it. See, I got up under them bones and I was going on the other side. I was on the other side right there and I did mess up some meat. I ain't gonna lie to you. I did mess up some meat trying to make a good video for y'all, but go ahead and let me have it in the comments. So we on that backbone right there. Now, when you get down to about 2/3 of the way, you should be able to put that knife all the way through. Oh, safety first. You should be able to put that knife all the way through to the other side. Boom. Now you got the knife on both sides of the backbone. So just be light as you can. Okay? Cut the meat, not the bone. Just be light as you can and let the knife do the work. Watch your fingers. Be careful. Safety first. Knife on safe. Okay. Then once we get to the rib cage, that's kind of the tricky part. The rib cage is kind of the tricky part. We'll talk about that when we get there. Knife off safe. PPE on. Let's do it. Knife on safe. Now right in here, right in here. This here, that's where that rib cage is. And right in here, that meat, it kind of comes out like this. It's like a rib cage. It comes out. So you're gonna have to angle your knife a little this way and ride down that rib cage like so. It's gonna get thinner and thinner as you come down. Knife off safe, PPE on. Let's do it. You see them ribs starting to expose? You see them ribs right there? That's all hard right there. And you can already see we tapping into the skin right there. It's real thin, so just stay up against the that rib cage. That's what we got. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing around that gill plate, under this fin, around there, like you're trying to cut the head off. Knife off safe. Let's do it. Once you get down there, you'll feel that knife grinding on that backbone. Take them, flip them around. Whichever side makes it easier for you, more ergonomic. More ergonomic. Knife off safe, same thing. Find that backbone, turn your knife at an angle, ride that backbone down. When you get about 2/3 of the way down, go ahead and poke your knife all the way through there. You don't have to, but it sure makes it easier for me. All right, that's where we at with it. See that backbone? We about to separate it. We about to separate it. Same thing. We're gonna work our knife down until we get to that backbone, and we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna turn it at an angle because that backbone kind of pooches out some. You see that? You see that right there, how that backbone pooches out? It comes straight down here. I mean that rib cage, and then it kind of pooches out. And then you cut over that. That's where you turn your knife, right in there. That's all bone. It's all bone. Knife on safe. That's where we at with it. I'm good on it. Praise God. So the next thing we're gonna do, if you're using one of these knives right here, what's this called, a boning knife? If you're using a boning knife, what you can do, you're gonna do that the same way. Hopefully your knife is sharp and you could just finesse that blade. when you cutting that fish off the backbone. But if you're using this, you just want to make a little incision right there. Make your incision. Take your thumb and grip onto that meat the best you can. Slide that knife up under there. You can pretty much lay that down, not completely flat, but you know, I don't know what degree that is, but that's pretty much flat. It's not flat, but it's just enough to get up under all of that meat that's laying up against that scale skin. Yeah, that scale skin. And you just work that knife back and forth. This knife ain't the sharpest knife, but I ain't got my knife sharpener over here. And you just keep working that. You know, if your knife is sharp, this little seesaw motion is still cool, but it's gonna come off a whole lot better. And that's where we at with it. What you can do is you can get up under this red meat right here. Alright? Most times that's what's making your fish taste fishy. Unless you just got a big old catfish, then I don't know. Maybe you can give me some tips on that, but they seem to always be fishy. This ain't catfish. So you can take that knife if you want to, and you can cut up under here. Cut up under that skin. And you can just fillet that red meat right off. If you want to. You might say, oh, you wasting a lot of meat or whatever, you know. You know, whatever you say, whatever you want to do. But like I said, unless it's catfish, I really don't care. If you want to take that off, that's what you're taking off right there. Alright, so after you get your fish good and clean, what you want to do is you want to dry that fish off. Dry it off real good. Get it dried off real good, okay? Now, the water, the moisture, and the air inside of your freezer bags, that's the moisture and the air inside of your freezer bags when you put fish in the freezer is the reason that your fish is getting freezer burn and it's looking all funny and funky or whatever, crystallizing and turning that white color or whatever. If you already have enough fish in the freezer, don't keep keeping fish if you're not going to eat it. Okay? I used to make that mistake when I was a kid. I just could not put fish back in the water to save my life. And I used to fill up my mama's freezer with fish, and a lot of that fish would go bad. Alright? I'm grown now. I grew up. I don't do that. But I do eat a lot of fish, I will say, because I'd rather spend my money on fishing equipment than going to the store and buying it. So, once you get your fish dried off, first thing you're going to need is a sink full of water. The next thing you're going to need is tongs. Unless you want to use your hands, that's fine too. But I don't. Third thing you're going to need is freezer bag. Alright, so now that you got everything you need for this part of the project, put your fish in the bag. I like to put my fish in the bag and try not to overlap it. You know what I'm saying? Like, lay the fish down flat. It's gonna help. It's gonna help you get the air out. It's gonna help you get a cool. So, what we want to do now is just want to put that bag down in the water. Make sure you don't get water in your bag. Now, the pressure from that water is gonna push that air out. So, you can try your best to work it out, the little bubbles. But the bootleg way is not going to be perfect. Now, I'm not telling you this method right here is going to allow you to put fish in the freezer and save it for a lifetime. But it is going to last you longer than if you didn't do this and you don't have a food saver. You feel me? So work that bag down in the water a little closer to that zipper. Alright. Once you get pretty close, go ahead and start from one side and start zipping. But don't zip it all the way up. Zip it about 2/3 or 3/4 of the way. I know some of y'all got money and y'all can buy the ones that's just got the little zipper slide on it. It definitely helps. There we go. Yeah. Alright. Now once you got that done, kind of angle it up a little bit to where the side that's not fastened is out of the water. Get as much water out of there as possible. Bring it on down and go ahead and finish sealing it. Like so. And this is what you have. It's not perfect, but it's better than the alternative if you don't have a food saver. I would suggest you label it and date it before you get it wet. But I'm actually probably gonna eat this fish, what's the day? In a couple days, you know. But I'd rather not leave it in the refrigerator until then, because you just never know what'll happen. And fish don't take long to thaw out. So there it is, folks.